Live.
Alright. Shalom Spitah to the brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shema Ta'abah Shalom. Shout out to the sisters. This is the Monday night history class. This is the Atlanta school coming out of 1 West on the 25th Street in the Commander Junior Yahanna. So with that, we're going to get ready to get into this. See, a lot of us, we grown up in Christian churches our whole life, and we thought heaven and hell was, heaven is in the sky and hell was on the bottom, right? You thought hell was in the middle of the earth. Today we're going to break down how that all happened, all right? All right, let me see here. Hey, Charles, do you have my number? Excellent. Are you driving, Makulat? All right. Hey, young man Charles, do you have my number?
Sir.
Shoot me a text. I'm gonna send you over this this to read really quickly. All right.
Sir.
It's like I'm bad at saving numbers, man. It takes about 6 months for somebody. I'm probably not even gonna say your number till you get your Hebrew name. All right.
Done on sir. I just sent it.
All right. Got it. All right. Cool. Throw water for that. I want you to read. Don't worry, I'm not gonna have you read the whole thing, all right? You're gonna skip through some of it, but it's long, so go ahead, get to that. Let me know when you get there.
I got it open now.
All right.
Inferno.
Okay. So, give me some. Let's before we get into that. What have you been taught? Heaven and hell is growing up. Give me some ideas, some things y'all was taught.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
I was taught that heaven was in the sky, and if you do right and follow your parents, then you'll get to go up there and walk on the pearly gates. And if you didn't do that, then you would be sent to hell and burned for eternity.
So that's heavy right there. That's what we all were taught. Okay? Now, do you understand why we were taught that?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead. There's 2 reasons why we were taught that. You got to tell me where the origin of it comes from, and then how it got taught to us. Go ahead.
Salaki, I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm thinking it just came from the Christian church just wanting to control you and wanting your money.
That's 100% right. That's 100% right. So basically, these things were perpetrated by the popes, right? All of the popes in Rome, all of those people, they used hell to make you pay your tithes, because it was all based upon money. It wasn't based upon actual heaven or hell. They said if you don't pay your tithes, you don't go to hell. If you don't get a pope's money, you go to hell. That's what they were telling you. So that's how it originally came. How it came into us was that when we were slaves, they wanted us to continue being good slaves. So they said, well, you already on hell on earth. You don't want to go to hell and when you die, right? At least be a good slave now. Obey your masters. That's what they told you, right? Matter of fact, if somebody get that from me, obey your masters. Let's get that. All right. It's in Colossians 3:22. Can you read that for me, young man?
Common sir. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 2.
22.
22, Salaki.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Colossians chapter 3 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
My servants, obey in all things your master according to the flesh.
You heard that.
Not with.
You heard that, right? You see that. What does that say? Hold on, right? One second. Well, that says, servants, obey your masters, right? So you were taught, you as a servant, you're supposed to obey your master. So that's what a slave means. You're a servant, right? This is what you were taught. So they wanted this to be law so that you did this so that you be a good slave. Keep going.
Common through the flesh, not with eye service as man pleasers, but in the singleness of heart, fearing God.
So he's saying you don't do it like men pleasers. You don't go around. Do you know what men? You know what a man pleaser is? Shh.
So sir.
Go ahead, Michael. Up. Oh, okay. Who was it?
Salak, y'all. One, y'all about to see y'all. I'll see how you're not checking in.
Oh, okay. That's what that was going on, boy.
I want to answer that question if I could.
Oh, go ahead.
A man pleaser is somebody. A man pleaser is somebody that wants to, get gratification and make sure a man or a human being gets the, they please that human being. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that task may be, whether it's like, let's say some oppressor tell a black man to go take the trash out. That black man gonna try to please that oppressor by taking the trash out the best way that he know how, all chipper and happy and everything. He's just trying to please that oppressor in any way possible.
Speak plainly. Well, what's the plain word to call a man pleaser? Go ahead.
We're like a man pleaser, you know what I'm saying? Be considered like a yes man, so to speak.
Like a what?
Like a yes man.
Yeah, yes, man. What's another word?
Like your sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
Shalom, Yahanna, Yahanna,
Shalom, Yahanna.
Sir, if I may, referring to if we use Romans 2:11, we are not respecters of men.
Come, I want y'all to speak it plainly. What is a man pleaser? What's plainly? Yes, man. That's one.
Salak, y'all the one.
Go ahead.
For lack of words, an ass kisser.
Yeah, exactly. That brother in. That's what it is. Are you butt kissing? Right? That's what a man pleaser is. So you obey your masters according to the flesh. Right? Because you got masters that's here in the flesh. But what is a master? What's a master? We already got what the man pleaser is. What's a master?
Salak, y'all the one.
Go ahead.
If I may, a master would be not what we would think as a slave master, but so much as a young man or a trooper or having an officer above them. That would be the master, Salaki.
That's exactly what it is. It's like a master teacher. Like when you all took karate and we've all had that, and you called them master so and so, right? It just comes from somebody being a teacher, because back in these times, you have to think of it as how do you put it? Like slavery was a different type of thing. Well, it was like two kinds of slavery. It was the hard bondage, right? But then you can be a slave to somebody in your own nation. And what that is basically, let's say you can be your uncle's slave, right? You can like go be a slave to somebody and you basically just work for them. You're their employee. Get what I'm saying? So you'll be like their employee. You'll do what they need you to do around the house while they teach you a trade or a craft, right? That's what the slave was at this time. So they tried to turn things on because our oppressor is literal. He doesn't understand how people talk, slang words, and then too is another way that he can use to oppress you, of course. So he's going to use it. So he'll force you to be a Christian. Then he forces you by the sword to become a Christian. And now when you fear God, now he puts even more fear to fear him. So the whole point of you being a Christian wasn't to fear God, it was to fear him. And he becomes your God. See what I'm saying? So that's where even the heaven and hell idea comes from. That you die, you go to heaven or hell, right? But we're gonna bring out exactly what it is, right? Okay, go back to that I guess the thing in Wikipedia for me. Yo, man, Charles.
Come on, sir.
Go ahead.
What you got? What you need?
I need you to read that the one I sent you.
Come on, Inferno, Dante.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
So,
Inferno, Dante.
Have any of y'all ever heard of Dante's Inferno before? You can speak freely. Go ahead.
I've heard of Dante's Inferno, and it's like a epic, what the Grecians would call an epic. You know what I'm saying? It's a book that talks about the different chambers or different dimensions of hell. So, and that's where we get our common notion of hell today.
Exactly. That's exactly where it comes from. Comes from some man named Dante Alighieri, and the name of it was Inferno. So that's where all of this hell speech comes from. So, all right, go ahead and start reading that for me.
Sir. Inferno, Italian for hell, is the first part of Italian writer Dante Alighieri's 14th century epic poem, Divine Comedy.
So it's a comedy. So y'all understand, we learning we was learning our religion from a comedy. Y'all get that? A comedy. Keep going.
It is also followed by
Purgatorio. Paradiso. Mm-hmm.
The Inferno describes Dante's journey through hell, guided by the ancient Roman poet Virgil. In the poem, hell is depicted as a nine concentric circles of torment located within the earth. It is the realm of these who have rejected spiritual values by yielding to bestial appetites or violence.
So that's saying they rejected spiritual values, so they tried to put it into Christianity, basically, for bestial, which means like beast, like animal, carnal appetites or violence. Keep going. Go ahead.
What you just said is so heavy because everything that the Christians do in the Christian church is some form of paganism. You know what I'm saying? From the New Year's celebration all the way down to Christmas. You know what I'm saying? It's all in a pagan. It's the Catholic version of paganism. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How they incorporate different pagan beliefs and different other beliefs into the Christian church to get those people that believe those things to come and pay their so-called tithes or their taxes to the Pope, or, you know what I'm saying, to the man over them in Rome. So
That's exactly right. So they use, it's all paganism at the end of the day. So all he did was just try to put the Bible lens on it to make it see, because they all knew that they were pagan. You know, they knew they were serving pagan gods. But what other way to still be a pagan but feel like you serving the real God? You mix it in with everything with the Bible, even though the Bible says don't celebrate Christmas. It doesn't say to celebrate all the stuff you celebrate, but you mix it in and say you're serving one God when you're serving many gods, right? All right, keep going.
Con, or by perverting their human intellect to fraud or malice against their fellow men.
So it's just all just having appetites for whatever the case is, for going towards their fellow men, right? All right, go to read the next little part. It says as an allegory.
And as an allegory, the Divine Comedy presents the journey of the soul toward God, with the Inferno describing the recognition and rejection of sin.
So now it's using as an allegory. So this not even. So I even read and preparing for the. He didn't even intend for this to be in any type of biblical type of literature. It was just this was just like a story, something that you can tell your kids, have a good it's a bedtime story, man. That's all it really is. It's a bedtime story. He didn't even intend for it to happen this way, but this became the whole doctrine of Christianity. This came into that doctrine. Before here, they weren't talking about heaven and hell the same way. They were mentioning, heaven and hell, but now they have the rings of hell, the lower hells, and all of these different types of hells. And that's not even scriptural in the Bible. All right? Let's see here. Go to the beginning. Go to Canto 1.
Canto 1. The poem begins on the night of Thursday on March 24th, or April 7th, 1300, shortly before dawn of the Good Friday. The narrator, Dante himself, is 35 years old and thus midway in the journey of our life. Half of the biblical lifespan of 70. Do you want me to read everything in parentheses too, otherwise? Or just skip
it? No, you can go past that.
Go past that. The poet finds themselves lost in a dark wood, astray from the straight way of salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Set out to climb directly up a small mountain.
Okay. I think I just lost you.
Keep going.
I know I lost where you were.
I'm at the end of salvation.
Okay, set up directly a small mountain. Okay, I see it. All right, keep going.
He sets out to climb directly up a small mountain, but his way is blocked by 3 beasts he cannot evade. A lanza.
Well, you can read this part, yeah, leopard. Go ahead.
Lanza or leopard or leon, lion and a lupa, she-wolf.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 beasts taken from Jeremiah 5 and 6 are thought to symbolize the 3 kinds of sin that bring the unrepentant soul into one of the 3 major divisions of hell.
So now they mixing in Bible verses with all of this, right? Trying to say there was 3 beasts, right, that you cannot evade. All right? All right, keep going.
According to John Tiardi, these are incontinence, the she-wolf, violence, and bestiality the lion, and fraud and malice the leopard.
Mm-hmm.
Dorothy L. Sayers assigns the leopard to incontinence and the she-wolf to fraud malice. It is now dawn of Good Friday, April 8th, with the sun rising in Aries. The beasts drive him back, despairing into the darkness of error, a lower place, where the sun is silent. However, Dante is rescued by a figure who announces that he was born sub
Lulio, which means in the time of Julius Caesar. Keep going.
and lived under Augustus. It is the shade of the Roman poet Virgil, author of the Aeneid and Latin epic.
So now this is a different whole story. So he's mixing in stories together. Like, you can think of this as being like Marvel. You get what I'm saying? But then they mix it up with the Bible and try to make it like, okay, now this is, this is Marvel, but then we mix it in like, for instance, what you call it, the Matrix, right? The Matrix was based upon, of course it wasn't the right interpretation, but the Matrix was based upon the Bible, right? Did y'all know that? Yeah, most correct. So I've been studying. So, but yeah, it was based upon the Bible. So, in Revelations, that's what the Matrix was about. But when it came down to it, it's the wrong interpretation of it. So it's the same thing with here. All right.
So lockdown on one.
Go ahead.
What you just said is so heavy. Not only did they get the wrong interpretation of it, they stole that whole script from a sister that wrote that. You know what I'm saying? That wrote that screenplay about the Matrix, and she came out. You know what I'm saying? After the trilogy set had ended, she came out afterwards and said exactly what you just said in multiple interviews that that it was based on a biblical story, and it is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things in there were based on what was written aforetime, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of our people in the world, you know what I'm saying, even though they are Christians, they have a semblance of what that Bible means, and they'll try their best to get understanding of it, and not knowing that the understanding that they get is based on the Christianity that they have been taught their whole lives by the through their parents, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, her bringing that movie out, you know what I'm saying, it opened the eyes up to a lot of people, but they didn't realize what they were watching, you know what I'm saying,
Exactly. And remember, I think the last time, one of the times I was teaching before, I told you that I came trying to think what it was. I was speaking about like on how the book, like the book of Jasher and all that was made. I was speaking about the book of Jasher and Enoch. We don't have those books, right? But at this particular time, they were everything like the Bible and Bible stories was like the jump off. That was the thing around in this era. So that's why everybody was making stories based upon scriptures, because that was just the thing, man. That's everybody wanted to hear a new part. Just think about how excited you were when you found out the Bible was yours and it was meant for the Israelites and you was an Israelite. You remember how excited you was about the Bible then? You was like, I ain't never cared about the Bible this much, right? But then once you learned that you was the Israelites they were speaking about, now you had some type of excitement. Just imagine that, but it was the excitement across the whole nation, across the whole, everybody felt that way. This is how it was. This was the new thing going on. All right. All right, kid, go to Cano 2.
Khan, Canto 2. On the evening of Good Friday, Dante hesitates as he follows Virgil. Virgil explains that he has been sent by Beatrice, the symbol of divine love. Beatrice had been moved to aid Dante by the Virgin Mary.
So you see that by the Virgin Mary, right? So you see, because you all know that the Virgin Mary was before they had a woman that was like, quote unquote, the Virgin Mary before the Virgin Mary, right? I can't remember who it was, but it was a Roman goddess. That it was what's his name's Zeus, I think Zeus' mom. That was the Virgin Mary, and I think the baby was Zeus. It's something like that, right? So that was the Virgin Mary before the Virgin Mary actually came. So, and then Zeus, I believe, is supposed to be Christ. You know, that's where they put him. Now he went from Zeus to Jesus and all of that. Go ahead.
Come on, Khan, sir. It's real heavy you kind of made. I believe the mother goddess Saint Mary, the Queen of Heaven, is in Greek Theotokos or Theotokos. Wow.
Okay. God, the water. I can't remember these names, but that Virgin Mary, like I said, this is way before Christ was even thought of. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we knew he was coming in the scriptures, but we didn't know her name was going to be Mary. We didn't know none of that. So it was that was made way before that. Go ahead.
So lock out of one. From my understanding of history, you know what I'm saying, that mother child worship, that Mary Christ worship, it started
in Egypt
with Semiramis and Tammuz.
Yeah,
you
yep.
know what I'm saying. And it was a story that was told throughout all nations. You know what I'm saying, all tongues, but they changed the names of it to fit their cultures. You know what I'm saying? Each one, when you go into different cultures, that Mary and that baby worship, you know what I'm saying, it takes on the same characters, but all of them have their own little nuances about it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even down to the modern day Christianity today. It's a lot.
Exactly. So yeah, that's it. It's Tammuz, which I believe that was. I try to remember all of this stuff, but I think that was even Nimrod, where that came from.
Locked out of one.
Go ahead.
If my memory serves me correct, the story goes Semiramis found herself pregnant, and after Nimrod had passed away, and she said that the spirit came down through the sun and impregnated her, and Tammuz is the reincarnation of Nimrod.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. Man, here's so many stories, man. All these, they just all weird as hell, man. They all weird as hell. But yeah, when she had laid with a man, we all understand that, right? She laid with a man and she had a baby. It was not no spirit of Nimrod coming in, giving her a baby, right? She laid with a man, and that's how she had Tammuz, right? So, but that's where all of that comes from. It comes from way back, Babylon and all these other nations. That's where all of these things come from. All right? And the same thing with even like these things of heaven and hell. All right, keep going.
Khan. Virgin Mary, symbolic of compassion, and Saint Luca, symbolic of illuminating grace. Rachel, symbolic of the contemplative life, also appears in the heavy scene recounted by Virgil. The two of them then begin their journey to the underworld.
So now they're going to the underworld. This, like I said, this is like a story. This is like you play the game. You ever play a game, Dungeons and Dragons, and you playing like those role playing games. That's what this is. But they didn't have the systems to play it this time, so they were telling stories. Keep going.
Khan. Vestibule of Hell. Canto 3. Dante passes through the gate of hell, which bears an inscription ending with the famous phrase, glaciate, ogenze, sporenza.
That's okay. You can skip past that.
Come, sir. Most frequently translated as abandon all. Hope ye who enter here.
So yeah, so it's a sign telling you abandon all hope for everybody who enter this place, right? Just get rid of all your hope. Keep going.
Abandon all.
Go ahead, Doc.
If I may, that what he just read, young man Charles, what he just read, that sign should be put up at the Christian church. You know what I'm saying? So when you go into the Christian church, you got to abandon all hope of reality. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to go into a whole nother place of fantasy land, Disneyland type deal. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go into the Christian church, the leaders of the church will tell you, you know what I'm saying, that you can do pretty much what you want, for Christ came and died for you, so you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
And then they're gonna tell you that the black woman got the true definition of black woman is God comes from the Christian church. You know what I'm saying? By telling that black woman, if that man ain't doing what you want him to do, you can put him out. If he ain't bringing no money home, put him out. If he ain't taking care of the children the way you want him to, put him out and go get you somebody else. And it's basically turning our children, our daughters into whores and our sons into sodomites.
Exactly. So all of that, you know, like all these things come from somewhere, man. Everything. Right? All right, keep reading for me.
Come. Dante and his guide hear the anguished screams of the uncommitted. These are the souls of people who in life took no sides, the opportunists who were for neither good or evil, but instead were merely concerned with themselves. Among these, Dante recognizes a figure implied to be Pope Celestine V,
The fifth.
whose cowardice and self-terror for his own welfare served as the door through which so much evil entered the church.
Now, you see how it came up to a pope, right? All these things is talking about it came up to the pope. So now that when they added the popes to it, now they started teaching everybody that this is what hell was going to be like. They started teaching in the churches. All right, keep going. I want to get down to the end.
Khan. Mixed with them are outcasts who took no sides in the rebellion of angels. These souls are forever unclassified. They are neither in hell nor out of it, but resides on the shores of the Asheron. Naked and futile, they race around through the mist in eternal pursuit of an elusive, wavering banner.
Okay, the Asheron is it's a river in Greece that is like in Greek mythology. It's called the River of Woe, River of Destruction, right? I just want to tell you that. Keep going.
Khan, symbolic to their pursuit of ever-shifting self-interest, while relentlessly chased by swarms of wasps and hornets who continually sting them.
Okay, and to the rebellion of angels, what they're referring to is the angels fighting, because the people that are in heaven, they you know how we teach there's going to be angels coming in to fight our oppressors, right? Because they take everything as literal. Like one word can't mean two different things when it comes to our oppressor. So the heaven they think of is a heaven. It's a fight going on in heaven with the angels. But no, all of the angels follow the Most High. That's why he said, what he say in Matthew, he said he wanted to be on earth like it is in heaven. It's order in heaven. There is no disorder. You know what I'm saying? In heaven. Everything goes according to what the Most High wants. So that's why he said that he wanted that it to be just like it is in heaven down here on earth, right? So all these things you can easily disprove these things, right? Keep going.
Come. Loathsome maggots and worms at the sinner's feet drink the putrid mixture of blood, pus, and tears that flows down their bodies. This symbolizes the sting of their guilty conscience and the
repugnance
of sin.
the repugnance.
Repugnance of sin. Right.
Mm-hmm. It's like the stink or like the stench of sin. Keep going.
This may also be seen as a reflection of the spiritual stagnation in which they live.
So now it's talking about they got maggots and wasps that's just constantly annoying them, getting the pus out of their between their toes. It's just, it's describing a hell, hell what somebody's going through, right? Hey, cut that down. So it's describing basically just hell that somebody's going through, because we all learned that hell in the Bible is a hellish condition. But in here they were trying to say that it's what you do when you die, right? Let's see here. All right, keep reading. You getting tired over there, or you good? You want to pass? Yeah, kind of. You want to pass it, or you too out?
I'm too out, sir. Can you pass it right now so I can change my earbuds?
All right, kind of. All right, do I get a volunteer?
What you reading out of?
Who's that speaking?
I'll speak to how you.
All right, one second. I'm about to send it to you.
All
right. Go down to the 9 circles of hell. I'm not gonna have you read all of that, so.
Colonel Khan, 9 circles of hell overview. Virgil proceeds to guide Dante through the 9 circles of hell. The circles are concentric, representing a gradual increase in wickedness, and culminating at the center of the earth where Satan is held in bondage.
So now they're using other scriptures where it says that the devil was going to be locked in for 1,000 years. So now you think that's Satan. He's saying he's held in bondage, right? But no, we all know that's our so-called oppressor that was held in bondage. That means he wasn't able to inflict his lies on the world for 1,000 years. Keep going.
Colonel Khan. The centers of each circle, the centers of each circle are punished for eternity in a fashion fitting their crimes. Each punishment is a contrapasso, a symbolic instance of poetic justice. For example, later in the poem, Dante and Virgil encounter fortune tellers who must walk forward with their heads on backward, unable to see what is ahead, because they try to see the future through forbidden means.
So you see how this is all going. This is like a story that somebody's concocted. This is art. This is artist work. That's the best way to put it. This is like, how when somebody, when like a rapper and he's rapping, he's making bars. You know what I'm saying? This is that. It's artistry. So he's saying they're walking forward with their heads on backwards because they tried to see the future through forbidden means. See what I'm saying? There's all just stories, man. So keep going.
Not merely as a form of divine revenge, but rather as the fulfillment of a destiny freely chosen by each soul during his or her life.
So it's not a divine revenge. So it's not even saying that God is punishing, but it's a fulfillment of destiny that they freely chose during their life. So God didn't even put them in this punishment. Y'all get that? So this shows you that it's not based on anything with the Most High, because the Most High didn't even do it. All right, keep going.
Con. People who sin but pray for forgiveness before their deaths are found not in hell but in purgatory, where they labor to become free of their sins.
Has anybody ever heard of like when the Catholic, you got to give them their last rites? Anybody ever heard of that?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead, break that down for me if you could.
Come on, sir, if I may. It's like what the Edomites say. What do you want in your tombstone? What's your last words? Before they put you on death row. And then it's kind of like and if I may, like it was brought up earlier, a purgatorio, paradiso. Or that's like the concept of purgatory. You don't go to hell, you don't go to heaven. You're right in the middle. That's where you get this fairy tales from. I went to Catholic school for a while, and this is what the stuff that they taught us. The press of the devil, Bible speaks of. So like.
Okay, so, but basically, but you got to explain to them like what the last rites mean. Do you know? All right, well, go ahead.
If I may, it's a short article that says, during the last rites, there are several prayers that they go to. So the prayer is simple, and it goes, for example, through this holy anointing, may the Lord in his love and mercy help you through grace, Holy Spirit, right, and free you. Let's say a little spirit. You got to say a little prayer, and that it could be an evil bastard all your life. It could be a pedophile. It could be a disrespectful, politely disrespectful, like polite, very polite, abuse people. And then just say a little prayer at the end, and you're okay, you're so like.
Exactly. So you can do all manner of evil your whole life. But if you say a prayer before you die, your last rites, now you can go either to heaven or you can go to purgatory, but you can fight, you can find your way back. You get it? So it don't matter what you do on the earth. So that's why Christians believe that, no matter what they do on earth, everything is okay because, I accepted Jesus Christ in my heart. See where all this is coming from? That, they learned this from a story that somebody wrote, he thought of in his mind, and he wrote it, and that's what they just went on. All right, keep going.
Con. Those in hell are people who try to justify their sins are unrepentant. Dante's hell is structurally based on the ideas of Aristotle, but with certain Christian symbolisms, exceptions, and misconstructions of Aristotle's text, and a further supplement from Cicero's De Officiis.
Mm-hmm.
Virgil reminds Dante, the character, of those pages where the ethics tells of three conditions contrary to heaven's will and rule: incontinence, vice, and brute bestiality.
So, somebody look up the word incontinence for me.
Lock y'all to one.
Go ahead.
There are two towns of purgatory, one in Maine and one in Rhode Island, Salakia, and I have that definition for incontinence.
Go ahead.
Incontinence, lack of voluntary control over urination or defecation.
Mm-hmm.
2, lack of self-restraint.
Yep. So it's basically talking about self-restraint. So, you can't restrain yourself from doing whatever, you shouldn't be doing. So, all right. And brute bestiality, which is violence. All right, keep going.
Come. Cicero, for his part, had divided his sins between violence and fraud. By conflating Cicero's violence with Aristotle's bestiality and his fraud with malice or vice, Dante the poet obtained 3 major categories of sin, as symbolized by the 3 beasts that Dante encounters in Canto 1.
Mm-hmm.
These are incontinence, violence, bestiality, and fraud, malice. Sinners punished for incontinence, also known as wantonness, the lustful, the gluttonous, the hoarders and wasters, and the wrathful and sullen, all demonstrating weakness in controlling their appetites, desires, and natural urges according to Aristotle's ethics. Incontinence is epitomal and malice or bestiality, and therefore these sinners are located in 4 circles of hell.
Okay, so they basically saying that there were certain ones that was in higher hells that wasn't as bad, and there was ones that was in lower hells, right? So, I'm like I said, I'm not gonna have you read it all. Can you just read what all of the first through the 9 circles were?
Salakia,
Go ahead.
Google just cut me off. Salakia, where did I leave off?
Well, no, you two. I just want you to read what all of the circles were.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, Charles. I'm back if you need me.
Okay. Can you read all of the circles for me?
Okay. 9 circles of hell. Overview. Virgil proceeds to guide Dante through the 9 circles of hell.
Oh no, we already read that. I want you to just go to the. You could just read it. The first circle, which is limbo. Second circle, which is lust. Third circle, which is gluttony. Fourth circle, which is greed. Fifth circle, which is wrath. Sixth circle was heresy. 7 was violence. 8th circle, fraud. And 9th was treachery, right? So you had all of these different like circles that they were on. Okay? And these were like, there were some heavier ones and there were some smaller ones. And in the middle of all of the circles was Satan. And he was bound up. This sounds like a video game, right? Literally what this sounds like is a video game. Or a story, like them old, the movies that those like what's the name of the movies? Like Game of Thrones. That's what this sounds like, Game of Thrones, where it's witches and warlocks and dragons. Go ahead, up.
Come on, sir. Wow, that's really heavy. That I was just thinking about, because when they trapped the Titans in the Mount Tartarus, and that's why they came out with all this garbage. You know what I mean? And they had I think an old school movie was the Clash of the Titans. We watched that. Perseus, he get their sword, and he gets to fight the demons and all that, the bad guys. And they got the Christians thinking that this is the God of war. You put on your PlayStation, you could be Kratos, you could be a man, half God. And you could be, You pray and claim it, and you could be the new Hercules, you know, and oppressor the devil. The Bible speaks of.
God, exactly. There's all these, like I said, all these are stories, man. It's just, like I said, it's a good bedtime story to tell your kids before they go to bed. You know, that's all it is, man. Let me see. Next, we're gonna read this part here. Let me send it to you. Try to keep it kind of short. There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say, then you make it out of there. Then you can go through all of the gates of purgatory. Then you get to paradiso, which is paradise, right? The Muslims believe the same thing. Going through purgatory and hell and all of these other things. Go ahead. Right? Read that when you read that part.
Parasudo. Dante Parasudo. Parasudo, Italian for paradise or heaven. This is the third and final part of Dante's Divine Comedy, following the Inferno and the Purgatory. It is an allegory telling of Dante's journey through heaven, guided by Beatrice, who symbolizes theology. In the poem, paradise is depicted as a series of concentric spheres surrounding the earth, consisting of the moon, Mercury, Venus, the sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the fixed stars, the premium mobile, and finally the Hyperion.
Yeah, period.
It was also written in the 14th century. Allegorically, the poem represents the soul's ascent to God.
So it's talking about how you get sent up to God now, right? Talked about all of the stars, all of the other, planets and all of that. That's how you get to heaven. All right, go to read the introduction.
Introduction. The Parasudo begins at the top of Mount Purgatory, called Earthly Paradise, the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
At the moon on Wednesday, March 30th, or April 13th, 1300, following Easter Sunday, Dante's journey through paradise takes approximately 24 hours, which indicates that the entire journey of the Divine Comedy has taken 1 week, Thursday evening, and Photo 1 and 2 to Thursday evening.
Mm-hmm.
After ascending through the spheres of fire believed to exist in the Earth's upper atmosphere, Canto 1, Beatrice guides Dante through the 9 celestial spheres of heaven to the
Hyperion,
which is the abode of God. And the
no, that was that's supposed to be like the highest heaven, right? That's what it's supposed to be like. This is like the Greeks and all of that. It was made for it's supposed to be like the highest heaven, which is what they use for the firmament in the book of Genesis, right? So it just, they're trying to mix it all together because, the greatest story ever told was the story of the Bible. So they just trying to remix it in. This is based, like I said, it's the Matrix. All right, keep going.
Which is the which is the abode of God. The 9 spheres are concentric, as in the standard medieval geocentric model of cosmology, which was derived from Ptolemy.
What's cosmology? Cosmology, and it came from Ptolemy. Uh-huh.
Sir. What was that again?
It's called cosmology, which means the cosmos.
Cosmology.
Call it cosmos, which is like the worlds. Go ahead.
Common concept of water. Cosmology is the science of origin and the development of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Modern astronomy is dominated by the Big Bang Theory.
Yep. Basically, it's a study of all of that. The cosmos, the worlds, the universe, space is what it all is, which came from Ptolemy. All right, keep going.
The Ephraim is the non-material, as with this purgatory, the structure of Dante's heaven is therefore of the form 9 plus 1 equals 10, with one of the 10 regions different in nature from the other 9.
All right.
Go
down. Hold on.
Journey, Dante,
Hold on 1 second. Okay, let's see. I'll just start again. Okay. Let's see here. Go to the first sphere. First sphere.
The first sphere, the moon, and constant. In visiting the moon, Beatrice explains to Dante the reason of the marking on its surface, describing simple scientific experiments in optics. He also praises the experimental method in general.
All right,
Canto 2.
keep going.
Yet an experiment were you to try it would free you from
Oh, no, you can skip past
the
that.
travel.
Go to the next one.
The waxing and the waning of the moon is associated with inconsistency. Consequently, the sphere of the moon is that of souls who abandon their vows and so were deficient in the virtue of fortitude. Canto 2. Here Dante and Beatrice meet
Picard, huh?
Carla, sister, and Dante's friend Forces, and Tony,
Donati.
who died shortly after being forcibly removed from her convent.
All right, you can go to the next. You can go to the next paragraph.
Beatrice explains that a vow is a pact drawn between a man and God, in which a person freely offers up his free will as a gift to God. Vows should therefore not be taken lightly and should be kept once given, unless keeping the vow would be greater evil, as with.
That's fine. You ain't got to read that part. So it's saying that you could keep the vow unless there's something that's greater evil that you can't keep the vow again. So like I said, this is all just a story. All of the spheres are the ambitious, the lovers, the sun, the wise, the warriors of the faith, Jupiter, the just rulers, Saturn was the contemplatives, faith, hope, and love, and the angels. So, I think I want to read down in the angels. All right, go ahead, go to the angels part, the ninth sphere.
Like this, sir. The ninth spirit, the premium mobile, the angels.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you want.
Okay.
The premium mobile first move sphere is the last sphere of the physical universe. It is moved directly by God, and its motion causes all the spheres it encloses to move.
Okay. So this is the last sphere. It's move. This is what God moves, right? Supposedly, it makes all the other spheres to move, right? Because He's in control of everything, right? Go to the next paragraph. Past that little passage they got, where it says the premium mobile.
The premium mobile is the abode of angels, and here Dante sees God as an intensely bright point of light surrounded by 9 rings of angels. Beatrice explains the creation of the universe and the roles of the angels, ending with a forceful criticism of the preachers of the day.
So now he's saying God is just an intensely bright light. Is that not what you basically are taught, like in Christianity? You think of God as not having a face, of not having any features like a person. He's a bright light, right? Let me see. I want you to start at. Okay. All right, we almost done. Go to Dante sees an enormous rose.
Dante sees an enormous rose symbolizing divine love, petals of which are the enthroned souls of the faithful, both those of the Old Testament and those of the New.
Mm-hmm.
All the souls He has met in heaven, including Beatrice, have their home in this rose. Angels fly around the rose like bees, distributing peace and love. Beatrice now returns.
No, don't that sound good? They fly around all the roses like bees. They giving out peace and love. But God, he sends evil angels too, doesn't he? Keep going.
Beatrice now returns to her place in the rose, signifying that Dante has passed beyond theology and directly contemplating God. Saint Bernard as a mystical compilation now guides Dante further, describing the heavenly rose and its occupants.
Keep going.
Saint Bernard further explains predestination and prays to the Virgin Mary on Dante's behalf.
So now they praying to the Virgin Mary. Like she's God. They praying to her now. All right, keep going.
On Dante's behalf, finally, Dante comes face to face with God himself. God appears as 3 equally large circles occupying the same space, representing the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
So now they go with the Trinity now with this. They adding that as well to it. So now you're thinking that, you're thinking of 3 parts of God. He is 3 equally large circles. You think of 3 things and they're all part of one being, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All of this sound familiar, right?
Sir.
All right. Go to the one passage, little passage. It says within these circles. Yep, that's it.
Like it says, is that it?
Yeah, that part right there. Yep.
Within these circles, Dante can discern the human form of Christ, The Divine Comedy ends with Dante.
Hello?
So like this, are you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
The Divine Comedy ends with Dante trying to understand how the circles fit together and how the humanity of Christ relates to the divinity of the Son. But as Dante puts it, that was not a flight for my wings and a flash of understanding which he cannot express. Dante does finally see this, and his soul becomes aligned with God's love.
Isn't that a beautiful Christian story? Sound beautiful, right? So now, you see, try to see how they all fit together, how the humanity of Christ relates to the divinity of the Son. But aren't they the same person, right? They trying to say that it's different people now. But as Dante puts it, that was not a flight from my wings. That means he couldn't understand that part. In the flash of understanding which he cannot express, Dante does finally see this, and his soul becomes aligned with God's love. So this is, like I said, this is a Disney fairy tale story that, we get taught all of these things. That's where a lot of these things, just what I told before, Santa Claus and all of the reindeer and all of that, and Blitzen and Vixen, all of that came from a story in the 1800s. It was like a poem, just like this. This is a poem. And then all of a sudden that became part of the celebration, right? And we're going to get a few precepts, and we're going to close out the class, all right? Give me Isaiah 28 and 15. Go ahead. Say that one more time.
I say, wasn't that around the same time, Constantine, Dante's Inferno?
Oh, no, this is about 1,000 years later. Yeah, Constantine was right around 200 AD, if I'm not mistaken. So this is about 1400s. All right. No sweat. All right, can somebody give me Isaiah 28 and 15?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 28 and verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death.
So we made a covenant with death. So we seen death, and we wanted to make an agreement with it. We wanted to sign an agreement with death. Keep going.
And with hell, are we at agreement?
So hell, we had agreement too. An agreement with hell. Keep going.
When the overflowing spirit shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
So now, it's telling you, it shall, when something good will pass through, it shall not come into us. Is we made our lies refuge, right? And our falsehood, we hid ourselves from the God. We didn't want to be exposed for what we doing, right? Keep going.
Verse 16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord the Most High, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. So
it's saying it's going to be a stone, right? A precious cornerstone. The corners are the strongest part of the stone because you have, it's like a triangle. The triangle is the strongest shape, right? So those are the strongest part. You're going to be a precious stone, a cornerstone, and a tried stone, right? Keep going.
Verse 17. Judgment also will I lay to to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place.
So he gonna put righteousness to where we're hiding at, right? And he's gonna put, where we're, all things is gonna be come out, right? Keep going.
Verse 18. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing spirit shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it.
Mm-hmm. So now, because we made that covenant, eventually it's no longer going to stand. We're going to get out of the captivity that we're in hell right now, right? Now give me Tobit 13:2.
The book of Tobit, chapter 13 and verse 2. For he doeth scourge and hath mercy, he leadeth down to hell and bringeth up again. Neither is there any that can avoid his hand.
All right, stop right there for 1 second. Let me get back. Let me get over there with you. Tobit 13:2. Okay. So he brings you down to hell and bringeth you up again. There's neither can there be any that can avoid his hand, right? Now go to verse 5.
Verse 5. And he will scourge for us our iniquities and will have mercy again.
Mm-hmm.
And will gather us out of the nations among whom he hath scattered us.
So that's where the hell is, right? He led us there, right? He led us down to hell, and he brings us back up. So he will scourge us for our iniquities, which means he's going to punish us, which is the leading down of hell, and then he's going to have mercy again, and will gather us out of all nations where he scattered us. That's where the hell is. The hell is you don't have your own nation. It's never been you die and you go to this place, in the ninth circle of hell. Like I said, these are all stories we've been taught, man. Give me Matthew 10:28. Matthew 10:28. Go ahead, get that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
So you ready?
Go ahead.
Okay, the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
So now you got to fear the Most High, because he can destroy your soul and your body. Because, right? Because, you've told that you die and your body goes to, your soul goes to hell. But it's saying your soul and your body. So that means you're going to be alive going through hell, right? You can't die and go somewhere because your body going to be on the earth. It has to be together. So that's just common sense, right? So keep him with a person that can destroy, you're supposed to follow fear, don't fear those men that can just destroy your body. Fear the person that can destroy your body and your soul. All right. See what else I want to get. Give me 2 Samuel 22:5.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 22 and verse 5. When the waves of death compassed me, the flood of ungodly men made me afraid.
So that's saying that right there. The waves of death compass me. So you seen death coming all around them. The floods of ungodly men. Who was he talking about that's ungodly? Anybody know? Go ahead.
Does that mean just simple men?
No, who he's speaking about a certain person.
Satan.
No.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Salaki, so I didn't hear the question.
I said he's speaking about somebody. He said the floods of ungodly men made him afraid. Who's the ungodly men? Let's see if y'all been studying.
Salaki, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You said ungodly man or ungodly men?
Men. It says men on here.
Salaki, sir. Is he referring to the heathen?
No. Well, it's sort of two, but it's mainly talking about one person because you got to think of when he's talking of what's going on at this time. Who is he mainly talking about right now?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
If I may, is he talking about Esau or Lucifer? Salaki.
No. Anybody else know what he's talking about? Read the verse, the first verse in the chapter 22.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 22 and verse 1. David spake unto the Lord words, this song in the day that the Lord has delivered him out of the hand of all his enemies and out of the hand of Saul.
So he's mainly talking about Saul, right? Now, yeah, did he have enemies that were heathens? Of course he did, because we've always had enemies that are heathens. What he's talking about is Saul and the people that sided with Saul. Because you remember Abigail's husband, right? Nabal or something, I can't remember his name. He was talking against. He was an enemy to David. He didn't want to feed him and his soldiers, right? And Abigail went and did it. Even after David he kept his house straight. Like he made sure his sheep wasn't missing. He made sure he looked out for the brother. And he said, "Who was you?" He started trying to get fresh on him. That he was an enemy of David because he didn't want to give back anything to David, and he was more on the side of Saul. So it's talking about Saul and his, host, the people that's on the side of him, that those are the enemies or the floods of godly men. Because, remember, he's hiding in caves at this time, right? Now, give me a sec. Go ahead.
Come on, sir, the water, if I may. Can we say, right now we got different slang, but can we say that, Nabal and Saul of them, can we say that was the opposition?
Yeah, God, they were the opposition. Now, he didn't necessarily have like a military or anything, but he was somebody that can help David, right? Because he doing the Lord's work. And because even, he could have at least looked out for him because David looked out for him. He decided not to. And David was getting ready to kill him. Remember, Abigail had to remind him, say, vengeance is not yours. It's supposed to be the Lord's vengeance. You're not supposed to go and kill him. And he's like, you right, sis. Salaki, you right. And then the Most High ended up taking him in his sleep. Well, I'm Salaki. I misspoke. I was misspoken that. She told him that David was about to come and he had like a stroke or something like that. I can't remember the whole story. But something happened to him and he ended up dying. Go ahead.
Kind of a concert, the water. I was just watching a class of General Muhammad teaches in this subject. If I may, it's real heavy what you're bringing out. The journalist said the most precious commodity in the whole planet is a virtuous woman. Mm-hmm. And my sister Abigail was that, right? And if I may, David was about to say, anyone who stands, who pisses in the wind, the day by the morning, they're gonna be dead, right? So because this guy didn't want him at the bar, he didn't want to food. You want
Yep.
do what you're supposed to do. And she said, she saved him from revenge by his own hand.
Yep.
That. And he died 10 days later, and she became, and the dude, her husband named the bar, his name is Nine unto Baal. He's a wicked bastard. It's like these Christian churches,
Mhm.
Rock this side.
Exactly. Do you know why that's the most precious thing? Anybody knows why it's the most precious thing on earth? A virtuous woman. Why is that the most? Why is that the best, the most precious thing on earth?
So, rock it, sir.
Go ahead.
And if I may, this is 1 in 1,000 brothers who's righteous, right? And for a woman, this is 1 in 12,000. For a woman to be righteous is like a crazy, rare thing. More
Exactly.
more precious than rupees.
Exactly. It's precious because it's hard to find. It's that rare. Like, I mean, hell, you see a diamond. You see a diamond on every wicked whore's finger, right? All of them got diamonds, and they a whore, right? The woman that most men they gonna marry is whores, but a virtuous woman you can't hardly find her. Like that's why even Solomon said, they said who can find this woman? That's because you can't. You gotta make a virtuous woman, man. You can't find one. If you leave a woman by herself, she gonna be the most wickedest thing you could ever. Because you gotta remember, Eve was a little girl at one point, wasn't she? She was somebody's daughter. But she brought sin into the earth, and then used her femininity to get Adam to do it.
Block it, sir.
Go ahead.
Kind of off topic a little bit, but can a woman be a prophet, or I guess like a prophetess or something like that?
A woman can be a prophetess, which means women can have visions. If the Most High wants it, He can give women visions. Can women go up and teach along with us and be a prophet? No. All right. That's a simple answer. All right. Go ahead.
Real quick, sir. It was brought out that a sister, Deborah, she had visions and dreams. The Lord High spoke to her, and being a virtuous, righteous woman, she brought those messages to her man, Barak, and he brought it to the priest, and they do what they had to do. Barak.
Exactly. So because a woman has a dream every day, and she thinks the dream means something, so she got to take it to the priest to actually determine if that dream is worth something, or is it just fairy tales of our mind. See, we have dreams all the time, but we were like, it's just in my mind. We don't ever get into it too hard. All right. I got a couple more precepts. Get me 2 Peter 1:16.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 16. We have not followed cunningly devised fables.
See, you see that the one we just read, that was a cunning. Like cunning means like it's well thought out, right? That's a well thought out fable, right? It took them 12 years to write all of those fables. That's a well thought out fable, right? Keep going.
When we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were witnesses of His majesty.
So we were witnesses of it, man. We made it known unto you the power. So this is Peter talking to the other brothers. We made it known the power coming out of Christ, right? and they were eyewitnesses, so they seen it. So this not a fable, right? This not, Satan is chained up in the middle of some circles of hell, right? Now give me Revelation 5 and 10.
Come on, Khan.
Go ahead.
Book of Revelation, chapter 5 and verse 10. And haste made us unto...
No, it's not hate, it's
Most High
has.
King.
And has made us. You got that? And has made us.
Hath made us unto our God king and priest, and we shall reign on the earth.
So it said we're gonna be kings and priests, and we're gonna reign not in space, not in some place we never seen. We're gonna reign right here on earth. All right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 3 and 16. And it should be the last one.
Khan. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was
So
there.
under the sun, there was a place of judgment. So we all know Judgment Day is coming, right? It's going to be the place of judgment, and wickedness was there, right? Keep going.
Khan. And the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there.
The place of righteousness is what we building up in I.S.U.P.K. That iniquity is all around us, right? Keep going.
Verse 17. I said unto my heart, the Most High shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work.
So there's a time for every purpose and every work. He's going to judge everything, right? He's going to make the wicked, which is, our oppressor, he's going to be under us, man. We're going to be ruling over him, right? And that should be anybody got any questions at all? Anything they want to bring out? All right, with that, let me see if I can find them. Pass the class over in the Pashkaya.
Sorry about that. Hold on a second. True announcements. Here we go. These I.S.U.P.K security announcements. With I.S.U.P.K start on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for a new brother and sister. When a new brother and sister come to the school, they are limited for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to set themselves off the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. My Ishra means 10 in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department of teacher. Priest fund, free will for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. The next holy occasion is the Day of Atonement. It's going to be this upcoming Wednesday at sundown. So remind you, at Wednesday at sundown until Thursday till sundown, you can't eat any food or drink any water or take any liquids. If you're on medication, then you exempt. If you're pregnant women, children, and people who take medication, they're exempt from this. But anybody else who's healthy, from Wednesday night sundown to Thursday night sundown, can't eat any food or drink any water, take any liquids. My Archeum and Aqua to check the bulletin board said right here. If anyone wants to be in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. That been Israel. You work for Isupk, been Israel. I might him. Somebody. I might him. Barak. Y'all about Shem, y'all shot Bragathar.
Y'all about Shem and Shabrakatah.
Y'all Matar. Yeah, Sluggy, one more thing. We have the feast of the breaking of the Day of Atonement. That will be Thursday night sundown. We have the feast at the school. To remind you of that, and any sisters in the online. And with that, class is dismissed.